Grey's Anatomy Season 15 is a really big deal for the show because once Grey's Anatomy Season 15 ends, it'll have aired for 341 episodes. That is beating ER's 331 episodes, which also had aired for 15 seasons. That'll make Grey's the longest running network medical drama in television history, which is really cool. Grey's is a fantastic show. It is able to encapsulate so many different storylines. It's able to draw on the viewer. I'm a huge fan of the show. And I have to say, Season 15 started off with a bang, and I cannot wait to see what's going to be happening throughout the rest of the season. Now, because the show is an ensemble cast show, they weren't able to really highlight everyone's storyline. For example, Alex and Joe, their storyline felt very mute for a long time until the very end of the episode. And, the trailer really hypes up the impact of Alex and Joe and what they're going to be doing throughout the rest of the season. But it makes sense for a couple characters to take the back seat in order to allow storylines to really progress. Now, my favorite thing about this episode was Jesse Williams' Crisis of Faith. Now, Jesse Williams plays Jackson Avery. And Jackson has gone through a lot, especially in Season 14 when they dealt with the sexual abuse scandal of his grandfather and whatnot, and he essentially lost his fortune to keep the hospital running. And Maggie tapped into that. But Jackson, he lost April, like I said, he lost his fortune, and it was really interesting to see, this man who was an open atheist have this crisis of faith, and I actually really connected to it. I really liked it. I just think Jesse Williams is a really charismatic actor, so I really enjoyed his storylines, particularly when he was dealing with Nisha, and Nisha was one of the patients. In the trailer, she's the girl that got hit by the car, and her legs were all separated because of the accident she got hit by. And we'll talk about the woman who hit her too, because she was a really big deal in the episode. And Nisha was this young girl, and she, had never experienced love, and Jackson and her really connected. And then at the end of the episode, she died, and Jackson was broken over this. He didn't understand why this girl had to die, but he got to live. And it was just really, really beautifully acted, really well written. It was a really great episode, and even the direction. And I know in television that directors don't have super amount of pull, but they have enough to make it the episode done to their own vision. And this was the first part of the episode was directed by Debbie Allen. The other part was directed by Kevin McKidd. Kevin McKidd has directed many episodes of Grey's. I don't know if Debbie Allen has directed more than this one, but if anything, she definitely was able to pull off the seeds of Jackson's Crisis of Faith, and then Kevin McKidd really went home with it, and I loved it. Debbie Allen plays Catherine Fox on the show, for those of you who don't know, and she had a relatively minor role in the beginning of the episode, talking to Richard and whatnot, who lost his sponsor at the end of last season. So because she was directing episode 1, she didn't get to do too much, which is unfortunate because Debbie Allen's a really great actress too. Catherine Avery is a really powerful character, and Debbie Allen's performance just adds to that. So she wasn't super in the episode, but her directing I really liked, and hope she gets to direct more episodes. But I would really say the highlight storyline was Jackson's Crisis of Faith. Now, he was dealing with Maggie throughout the episode quite a bit, but it's interesting to me that Maggie, a character who has had a very interesting backstory, being the half-daughter of, or the half-sister of Meredith, the daughter of Richard, and Meredith's mother, Alice, being really smart. She said she graduated med school at the age of 19, which I think is crazy, and almost, that's when the fantasy really takes over. That just seems impractical. It is. And, Maggie, as I'm saying, a character who's really smart. She's very much used to be comedic relief. And I was watching this episode, and I realized that throughout the last 3 or 4 seasons, they really hyped up the comedy. And they're still having a lot of drama, but there was quite a bit of comedy. And I feel that Maggie is used to be the comedic relief. Also having her own emotional and in-depth storylines, but at the same time, I really do feel that she's used for comedic effect, which is totally fine, because Kelly McCreary, she exudes that. She's funny, and I like when she gets to be more comedic. So Chandra Wilson, who plays Miranda Bailey, as you all know, Bailey is a great character, really powerful. Chandra's acting is just, it's mind-blowing. This episode and this entire series has such amazing actors. And the beginning of the episode, she's really looking for a replacement to be the new interim chief, and we'll talk about Teddy in a minute because that was her go-to. And then Teddy decided to not do it because of Amelia and Owen, who, again, that'll be the last thing we'll talk about. And then she's like, all right, I don't know what to do. And Teddy essentially defunks the position, and then she goes through the episode in like a comedic fashion. People are like, oh, let me be chief, and she's like, no, I don't want this. And then at the end of the episode, I had mentioned that Alex and Joe really didn't do too much. She essentially steals Joe from Meredith. There's a whole storyline where Joe wants to stay in Seattle, and because she wants to stay in Seattle, she proposes this like fellowship, which Bailey likes the idea of, so she funds it for Joe, and now Joe is her fellow as opposed to Meredith. So that was really kind of it. It was very light in terms of Bailey. I'm hoping that she gets to do a little bit more going forward. Camilla Luddington, the character of Joe, I don't think came into her own until season 14. So to have this a relationship with Bailey and Meredith, will be really interesting because Bailey is nothing like Meredith. So then a couple more things to briefly talk about is Meredith and the love triangle storyline. Now, this season is called the Season of Love, and it literally starts off with intensive love making. And one of the victims or the person who caused the car accident for Anisha, her name was Cece. And Cece was a matchmaker, which they all talked about, like that's unheard of now. And I thought, oh, wow, that's just hilarious that they would bring that in. And I think Cece's going to have a bit of a role in the beginning of the episodes for season 15, because essentially at the end of the episode, Meredith is like, all right, it's time for me to find love, because she keeps fantasizing about DeLuca. She fantasized about Greg German. She was fantasizing about Jackson. So she talked about how she doesn't want to be married to her work anymore, and it was interesting. You know, she was single for so long, and I had commented on this the other day. She liked being a wife and mother. She chose that path as much as she chose surgery. She didn't choose to be single, and she was trying to adjust it. But I think that she likes the idea of having someone to share her happiness with, and this was very much touched upon in the entire episode. So I like the fact that she wants to, essentially get back in the game. But also, single Meredith is totally fine as well. But she has her little niche family of Amelia and Maggie. But if she wants to go and find love, go find love. But the only issue I had is I really felt that Meredith's storyline was relatively slow in comparison to the other ones. But like I can see the chemistry with her and Andrew DeLuca, but it's not going to happen. Even though we had mentioned in my comments that DeLuca has the Derek hair. All right, so the last thing I want to briefly talk about is the storyline with Kevin McKidd, who plays Owen Hunt, Katarina Scorestone, who is Amelia Shepherd, and Kim Raver, who is Teddy Ullman. I love Teddy. I think she's a great character. I think Owen is a great character as well. Not a super fan of Amelia. I watched Private Practice, and that's where her character was introduced. And then they brought her into Grey's Anatomy to kind of fulfill Derek's role of being a shepherd and being a neurosurgeon. And I don't know. I never loved her. I mean, I like her, but I just don't feel the chemistry with her and Owen. I always felt that Owen and Amelia were like the rebound relationship after Christina left at the end of season 10. So, poor Teddy comes in, and she wants to tell Owen that she's pregnant. That was the comedy at the beginning of the episode. And, she goes to their house, and the adopted or foster child who was there is like, oh, Amelia and Owen are asleep. And Teddy's like, gotta go, like, not dealing with this. And I actually laughed quite a bit at that. And then, in the beginning after that, Teddy's like, I can't be the interim chief. I don't want to be around Owen and Amelia. Then there's a comedy with Maggie. And, at the end of episode 2, because this was 2 parts, it was episode 1 and episode 2, Amelia and Owen get together. And I was like, oh, why? Like, they really belong with, he really belongs with Teddy, and she needs to find someone else. And they talk about that in the trailer, which will also be discussed. But I was like, Kim Raver is such a good actress, and Teddy and Owen really belong together. They have all this history. Like, it doesn't make sense to me to keep them divided. But it was more so used for humor than it was for an intensive plot line. But I still want to see where this love triangle will go. But Amelia also talked about how she wants to be with Owen, which was nice. Like, it was a really nice idea. I don't know, I just don't ship the couple. I like the acting, I like the characters themselves. I just don't ship Owen and Amelia. I'd rather Owen be with Teddy. And poor Teddy, she wasn't even in episode 2 when Kim Raver got to come back to be a main character for season 15, and she was barely in the episode after like maybe 10 minutes in the beginning, if that. So anyway, I really enjoyed the episode. I really thought Jackson's crisis of faith and Meredith wanting to start dating again with, and using Cece as her matchmaker is a really cool idea. I like that. I'm looking forward to seeing where Alex and Joe are going to be going with Joe's fellowship and Alex's new job as interim chief. A couple characters I didn't talk about. Honestly, I mentioned them a couple times, like DeLuca and Weber. Like, their roles are kind of mooted. They're important, but mooted nonetheless. DeLuca's sister was in the episode, also important, but again, the ones that really take the center stage, such as Meredith or Jackson, is what you focus on, or even like that love triangle. So I would say this episode is a 4 to 5 stars for me. Solid start to season 15, to a season. I'm looking forward to watching episode 3 next week. I'm looking forward to your comments down below. Please tell me what you thought about the episode, and we'll talk Roasted Bookers and I'll cover the trailer really soon. All right, guys, take care. Bye.